We're live. Hello, YouTube. If you're watching this as a replay, you can fast forward 7 minutes to the start of the actual radio program. Otherwise, you're going to sit and listen to myself and Daryl BS about things until we start.
Well, BS, that's what we're good at, isn't it?
You know, I think there's a special talent in that sometimes.
Not everyone's cut out for it.
No, there's some pretty quiet people out there.
Yeah.
What else can we, let's see. Yeah, no, I had that done yesterday. I got cut out some of my, so I did something this spring. When I brought my cows out of the winter pasture, I cut out some of the later bred ones and I put them in with my registered, just so they'd be in a little smaller, more forgiving kind of pastures. And that worked out exceptionally well. However, of course, those later bred ones, those calves aren't quite the size that everything else is. So I threw them over in a neighbor in their feedlot. So we'll see. Hopefully, you can get a little bit more weight on them, get them cracked up there, and sell them after the first of the year.
Yeah, that's
hopefully.
It's never a bad thing to have a little variety in marketing, create a little cash flow at a different time, and maybe take opportunity of a different marketing opportunity. So
watch the price just drop on me because of all these new COVID crap that's going on.
Or it could do just the opposite.
I hope so. Well, on the good note, I mean, hopefully you're wearing your mask here when we're doing this show because it's a new rule now. Our governor said that we got to wear masks now.
Yeah, I'm.
Shocking.
I called that about 2 months ago. That upon re-election, we would implement mask mandates and other things. And
yep.
Yeah, it happened. It actually took about 4 days longer than I predicted, though. So I can't claim complete correctness.
Yeah. It's exactly what I said this morning. I said, shocker. Once he got reelected, boom, here's 4 new rules that we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Chuck Hansen down in KGFX in Pierre just messaged me. He says, everyone wished they had Christy Nome.
Yeah, I tell you. I'll be honest, I was wondering how Christie was going to do as a governor, and I got to say that I am extremely pleased with how she's handled being governor of the state of South Dakota. And I used to say that we named the Dakotas wrong. It should have been Greater Dakota and Lesser Dakota, with us being the Greater Dakota. But man, I don't know anymore where we're going to be there.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it should be East Dakota, West Dakota is what I thought.
Well, I like the variety our state has, especially being able to lead an ag organization like I have the privilege to. I kind of like that variety, and it gives us a little bit more balance, I think, in our ag economy, that we do have, the variety from east to west.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that part. But yeah, I mean, there is a definite, shift in attitude when you hit a certain highway, line when you start coming towards the west.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know there was any East River versus West River, mentality until I moved to Brookings, South Dakota for a while. And when they found out I was a West River guy, oh no, boy, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, I don't like the East-West divide thing.
I don't either.
I think that, and I'm not going to close my eyes and close my ears and pretend that there isn't some sort of a divide out there. But we've got to work to close that gap. And, that's what we do at NDFB all the time is, hey guys. Yeah. You might raise sugar beets. We might raise cattle. You guys might raise more corn. We might raise more canola and wheat. But we're all utilizing the natural resources out here that God put on this earth for us to utilize. And let's band together and make sure that agriculture is vibrant going forward.
Boy, that's the truth. Wish more people would think that way there, Daryl.
Well, and that's the challenge that we face, and that's kind of the thing that I'd like to see accomplished. Yeah. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah. When I was doing the Pioneer Seed interviews, that's the same thing. You get I was discussing it with people from Dickinson, Bismarck, different representatives all the way across the state. And one of the people I interviewed way on the northeast corner of the state that was a representative, completely different outlook on agriculture than the other eight. It was kind of interesting to see their take on ag just by interviewing them.
Right.
Different flavors, I guess. Takes all kinds to go around.
Well, and we are a product of our environment.
60 seconds or so there. So just to let you know. Sorry, I cut you off there. What'd you say?
We are a product of the environment we grow up in. Our surrounding communities create and mold who we kind of shape who we become and what our outlook is. And so, I mean, there is going to be regional differences, and but how do we take those regional differences and find the commonalities for the purpose of promoting ag and making sure ag is out at the forefront? Because let's face it, without ag, nothing else exists.
Nope. But the food, they just go to the grocery store, Daryl, and get their food that way. Who needs agriculture? Come on.
There's people that have grown up in this state, grew up on a farm in the state, moved out of the state, and they think that, we just go to that big town and get our food. No, you don't. That might be where you find your supply, but that is not where your food comes from. And they grew up here. Right. That's environment.
Hold on. Stand by. We're coming up here in 5 seconds on Mark. 5 seconds. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm your host, Scott Bachmeyer, and for the next hour, we have the privilege to talk outdoors, and you get to take part of the conversation if you'd like. Call in toll-free, 888-932-5682. That's 888-932-5682, or it's easy to remember, 888-9-DAKOTA. It's the same thing. You can call in with your questions, comments, concerns, and if you do, you're automatically thrown on hold. This is how my system works, and we'll get to your phone call as quickly as possible. Upcoming events coming around the area, I tell you what, we have a few. And like I said before, if you want your event mentioned on the program, all you need to do is send it to me. And I got one here on via text message I can get to here in a little bit. But coming up in the South Dakota side, the Wild Walleye 3rd Annual Ice Fever Tournament. This is Saturday, January 2nd, down in that Sturgis and Spearfish area. If you'd like more information, you can always get in touch with Kevin Vaughn down there in the Sturgis side of thing. That's the Wild Walleye 3rd Annual Ice Fever Tournament. The 4th Annual Dunn County Christmas for Kids Coyote Hunt is on December 11th and 12th. If you'd like more information there, you can get in touch with John or Emmett, or just find Dakota Predator Hunters on social media, and they can get in touch with you that way as well. The 6th Annual Cheyenne River Predator Hunters Classic Coyote Calling Contest is December 11th and 12th. Moving it this year to Curly Hall, northwest of Fort Pierre due to COVID here. The fundraiser this year will be for the Curly Hall Fire Department. If you want more information, you can get in touch with anybody down in that neck of the woods here. Once again, if you'd like to get any of your tournaments or ideas or any kind of gatherings you would like mentioned on the program, you can email them at scott@ndsupernet.com. You can text it to me on my cell phone, 701-425-6651, or just find me on social media and message it that way. Daryl Lease, president of the North Dakota Farm Bureau, joins me today. Morning, Daryl. How's it going?
I tell you what, it's a beautiful morning starting out here. Sun shining, beautiful sunrise this morning. No wind yet. It's early in the day though. Give it time. And it's a beautiful day out here on the northern plains.
Well, I tell you what, the fun part about being my own producer is I don't have to wear a mask on my own program. Are you masked up? North Dakota rules. The governor came out last night or yesterday or whatever it was, but I saw the 4 steps here, and it's, we kind of saw this coming. If he got reelected, he was waiting for this, wasn't he?
Yeah, I kind of said this almost 2 months ago that we would see a mask mandate. We would see a change and a shift of how this is approached by the governor, and it's just, it came to fruition. And you know, it should be a little disturbing that this happened on a Friday night
10
instead
o'clock.
of a
10
yeah.
o'clock is what Todd just texted me here. He said 10 p.m. last night. Okay.
And so, I mean, wow. I guess there goes the, transparency in government and the accountability in government. And this might be the reinvention of government, though. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to watch this thing play out, and I think there's, first off, for any listeners out there, in no means am I saying that this is a hoax virus.
Right.
No, this is a virus that exists. Okay.
And most of us know people that got it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The management of it is what I question. Most of us know people that got it. Most of us know people that have died having it. Not of it, having it.
Correct.
And so I'm not, but I'm not saying that this is not something that we need to not manage. We do need to manage it, but we also have to live. And, we get in cars every day, and people die in cars every day. We still eat, fast food, chips. We still breathe air, and all that stuff causes cancer and, everything else. I mean, just living causes illnesses. Okay. But we don't stop living in a fear of an illness. We deal with it when we get it, or we deal with it when our family has, an issue with it, and we have to live through it, and we have to prosper through it. And I don't know, this is an extremely dangerous virus to a very specific age population or health population. And to me, it doesn't reach pandemic status because it's not something that just comes and kills randomly everybody. And, it's very low in most of the age categories and most of the health scenarios, but it's that, it is those tough ones that are tough for us to lose. It's tough to lose parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and that. So, I mean, it does play a little bit different emotional thing, but we can't let emotion dictate how we manage our lives and live to the next day.
Yeah. My biggest concern is what it does to businesses. It's been a pretty tough year the way it is. And, I was just going through social media this morning, and one of a good friend of mine and a veteran here in the Bowman area, it's hunting season. It's the second weekend of the North Dakota deer hunting. Oh, South Dakota deer hunting opens today, by the way, Daryl. So just so you know, I should have said, I should have started. West River starts today, and East River will start November 21st. So today is opening deer. So these businesses, deer hunting is a huge thing for small town businesses, whether you run a restaurant, bar, gas station, whatever it may be. And now, what is it? They got to go at 50% capacity or 25% capacity or whatever it is. I watched it very quickly here before we started the program. But Todd Mitchell says that we still eat bacon. I thought bacon was a health food. I really do.
Bacon is a health food.
Yes.
I mean,
especially the racing bacon.
Oh yeah, racing bacon, nothing better. I mean, hey, and I tell you what, a lot of people don't realize, what my passion is in agriculture. I'm a livestock guy, and I'm truly a livestock guy. I've got beef cattle, I've got sheep, I've got goats. We do some poultry, and I've got, my main thing is the hogs. Mm-hmm. Okay. Bacon makes all of that better. That's just a fact.
I love bacon. So, yeah.
But I mean, so I am a true livestock guy at heart. And I live every day seeing a variety of animals, caring for a variety of animals, and dealing with a variety of diseases in each of those species of animals, and having to make decisions and care for them. And like I said, it's the great opportunity we have here on the northern plains across this country, whether it's the mountain states, the plain states, the coastal states, whatever it is. We have a great opportunity to manage God's resources.
Yeah.
And no one does it better than those folks that are on the ground out here in rural North Dakota.
And South Dakota.
And South Dakota. I got to remember our South Dakota folks down there, especially on your show, Scott.
My show is, I covered the Dakotas, baby. That's what we done. You and I were talking about this on the YouTube side thing before we got on there was, working as I wish they wouldn't have split it up north and south. It was just Dakota territory. That'd have been just fine with me. Hey, Daryl, do you know the guys at Action Motorsports?
Action? I don't know them.
You need to stop in. They're having a Polaris Ag Advantage is what they call this at Action Motorsports. And it is, if you're in the agricultural business, you get 10% off, up to $1,500, up to 2-year warranty on any Polaris Ranger, General, or Sportsman models. And this is going on till the end of the year. So go in there in an hour, see Britt or Steve or Dwight or any of the other guys in there, and they'll take care of you. On the strip, Mandan, it's the Polaris Ag Advantage. If you're in agriculture, they're going to take care of you. Daryl Lease is my guest. We'll be back after these messages.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust provides ag loans for all stages of growth, from seed to harvest. Our expert agribusiness lending staff specializes in loans for livestock, equipment, vehicles, and operating. With our roots in agribusiness lending, you can be assured that our lending staff will provide you with prompt and reliable service. In other words, our ag loan officers will always keep your best interests in mind. Stop by your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Pfeiffer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pfeiffer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy. For more information or land updates, go to Pfeiffers.com.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Your home isn't just your biggest investment, it's where you live and where you love. Dakota Community Bank and Trust makes it easy and convenient to find the best loan program and most current rates available. Whether you were house shopping as a first-time buyer, thinking about new construction, refinancing your mortgage, or remodeling, we offer the assistance of an experienced live mortgage officer. You can find our mortgage team through bricks or clicks, in person or online, anytime at dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Music from Benny Paulson and Breaking 8. You can find them on iTunes and all music formats. A bull rider, gone country singer there. I tell you what, Daryl Lease from North Dakota Farm Bureau President here is with me. Daryl, excuse me, I had to cough there a little bit. Have you listened to much of that Breaking 8? You know Benny at all, or?
I know Benny very well.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm bull rider, went president of North Dakota Farm Bureau. I rode bulls at a younger age, the same time Benny did. He just went on to do that at a little bit bigger level, and then became a instructor for it. And
Yeah.
now he's going to be a legend in the music business too.
I hope so. I can say I had him here in studio. He actually came down to the ranch and did a show with me here in studio one Saturday, a couple Saturdays ago.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So there you go.
No, Benny's a good guy besides.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And anybody who knows him will say the same thing, and he'll probably remember your name. That's pretty impressive. Well, I tell you what, if people were listening to the daily show of my Dakota Prairie Outdoors daily program on any one of these stations that you're listening to right now, you and I were talking about on the North Dakota side of things, okay? Now, I don't always want to leave South Dakota out of here, but they don't make silly rules like this. Or we'll get into that here. Anyway, the 440 rule in the North Dakota side, and South Dakota might have this too. What it is if you're out hunting, you're supposed to stay at least 440 yards away from somebody's residence for safety. I mean, it really is a safety issue. But you have kind of a unique story about this. Share it with me and the listeners again here one more time, and let's talk about this.
Yeah, Scott, so I got a call from a good friend earlier this week. I believe it was Monday morning, and he said to me, he goes, "Do you realize that we don't have a 440 rule? We don't, essentially we think that we've got this bubble around our residence that
Yes.
protects us from guns being shot around it or that." And I said, "We don't." I was taken back by the statement, and I'm going, "Yeah, but the rules, the proclamation say," he goes, "Yeah," but he said, "I had hunters across the road from me. I don't own that property over there. And they were within, just a couple 100 yards or whatever." And he said, so I did start doing some inquiring, and I got told, well, no, it's, that 440 rule only applies if you own the land. Then people got to get permission, even if you have it unposted. North Dakota has a posting law. So even if you have your land considered open, if it's on your property, they still got to get permission to be within 440 yards of your property. But they can hunt the ditch across the road from your house, even if it's only 75 yards away.
Yeah.
If it's unposted, or if they have permission from the landowner over there to be. Well, the thought used to be that, yes, we can't restrict the landowners from hunting and utilizing their own property, but that they couldn't give permission for someone to be within 440 yards of a residence that neighbors their property.
Right.
So that's been the general perception and interpretation of that rule, I think, by the vast majority, if not almost everyone, out on the land. I mean, would that be a fair statement, do you think, Scott? I mean, is
would
that the
say
way
so.
people interpret it?
I remember covering this when I was in school, taking hunter's safety education at a very young age. So, I mean, yeah, I grew up thinking that same thing.
So now we need to do a little bit of education and information sharing out there of what this really is. The 440 rule only applies to your own property. Okay, so if you leave your own property unposted, people still can't come within 440 yards unless they come and ask to hunt within 440 yards and shoot that gun. Okay, but like I said, across the road, in the ditch, or onto your neighbor's property across the road, even if your house is only 30 yards into your side of the ditch, which would make it only about 80 or 100 yards to the other side of the ditch from your house, they can hunt that. They can shoot there. They can do whatever. And there is no legal recourse and no protection there. And so I started doing some digging, made some phone calls, called the Game and Fish Department. And yes, that interpretation that everyone thought the way it was is not the way it is. It is the way that it has to be your own property. And I did some inquiring into with some of the enforcement in Game and Fish, and one of them made reference to a years ago Attorney General opinion that you can't restrict that property use over there, and who they can or can't give permission to, and what part of it they can or can't give permission to. And I don't know. So I've got folks in the Game and Fish. Obviously, I don't always agree with them, and in fact, there's not a lot of times I do agree with them, Scott, and those folks there know it. But I do have a great working relationship with Terry Steinwan. Okay. And I called Terry and I said, Terry, can you check this out? Can you see where, I want to know the history of this. I want to know, can you see if there was an Attorney General's opinion? And he goes, well, it hasn't been one in my tenure. So he says it had to be before that. He said that I can remember having one. He said, let me check with enforcement. Let me do some searching. So he's working on that. And I appreciate that. Terry and we have very spirited debates, but we can work together. We can, make sure that information is being shared correctly. We make sure the right message is getting out there of what the information is. So Terry and I have got a good working relationship, and he's working on that for me. But here's what we need to get out there is if you're a landowner and you're giving permission to someone, because we've done this probably over the years, and I'm sure other ones are, they assume that this 440 rule applies. So if they give someone to hunt the northwest quarter in section 31, and it's across the road from neighbor Joe, they're assuming that 440, that then people just have to stay out of there. So they just say, oh yeah, you can go hunt that, assuming the hunter or hunters are going to have to stay away. And so they didn't mean to probably let them do that. But if the hunter knows this, that they don't have to, they can cross over into that. So landowners, when you're giving permission, point out to those people, if you want to protect your neighbors out there, your residential neighbors, your community out there, that remind them, if I catch you within 440 yards or someone else does, you will never hunt it again.
Isn't it kind of common sense and just safety to stay away from a residence and not shoot around that? I mean, I would think. Well,
it should be, but I mean, there's people that will allow you to hunt their tree rows right up next to their house or that because they want things managed, and that's a different deal. But you've asked permission for that. You've let them know that you're there. You've all the above, whatever, the responsibility of it. Now, on the flip side, I'm going to talk to those of us that are hunters out there. Don't use this as a license to do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you want to erode landowner relationships to an extent even further than what there are some issues out there now, push this issue that way.
Yeah.
And you're going to see things become very hard to get on. So there's a warning both ways here. Take care of your neighbors, and hunters, don't use this as a license to be able to encroach within that 100 yards because you've seen that big buck laying next to that rock pile that's across from that guy's house.
Yeah. Or at least go over and ask that guy and say, you know, I know that that's not your property, but it's going to be pretty close to your house, you know, and just be good, be smart about it, you know?
Yeah. And a lot of guys are going to come out and say, well, just a second, let me come out and watch.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
because they like to see, you know, opportunity be had by outdoorsmen and enjoying the outdoors. And, you know, some people are a little more grumpy than that, but for the most part, we like to share our resources out there that we get to manage daily. And we like to see, you know, people as successful in their quest for, you know, their game and whatever. And so, but so warning both sides here. It's just an informational thing. And as I get more, and as we can surface this Attorney General's opinion that is thought to be out there by some on the enforcement side, you know, we're gonna work through that to see where that's at. But it's information people need to know, because the way it's still printed in the proclamation, and I asked Terry, I said, so why is it printed that way? Because he says that's our intent. Our intent is to have people stay away and communicate with people if they need to get closer or want to get closer.
Tell you what, Daryl, we're up against the break here, and the guy just texted me, he said, I'd hope it'd be common sense of a hunter, and you'd think it would be. Hey, more Dakota Prairie Outdoors. It continues on the other side of the hour after these messages.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust provides ag loans for all stages of growth, from seed to harvest. Our expert agribusiness lending staff specializes in loans for livestock, equipment, vehicles, and operating. With our roots in agribusiness lending, you can be assured that our lending staff will provide you with prompt and reliable service. In other words, our ag loan officers will always keep your best interests in mind. Stop by your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet. A family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Your home isn't just your biggest investment. It's where you live and where you love. Dakota Community Bank and Trust makes it easy and convenient to find the best loan program and most current rates available. Whether you were house shopping as a first-time buyer, thinking about new construction, refinancing your mortgage, or remodeling, we offer the assistance of an experienced live mortgage officer. You can find our mortgage team through bricks or clicks, in person or online, anytime at dakotacommunitybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition on KGFX Pierre in Fort Pierre, KOLY in Mobridge, KFYR in Bismarck, Mandan, KCJB Minot, and KLTC Dickinson, and all around the world right now on my YouTube live channel. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio on YouTube. So the more subscribers, the more I can do like mobile type of things, because they have to have 1,000 subscribers, I believe, to be able to do that. The Polaris Egg Advantage from Action Motorsports on the Strip, Mandan, North Dakota. It's worth a trip up there or down there, depending on where you live from Mandan. It's worth a phone call, all right? The Polaris Egg Advantage. If you're in the agricultural industry and you can take advantage of this. You walk in there, you get a new Ranger or a General or a Sportsman four-wheeler. If you go in there, it's automatically 10% off right away, just because you're an egg producer right there. And you do have to prove it a little bit. I mean, you have to show some form of a agricultural type of I think I had to send in a bill or something like that, just a photo of it. But you can't just say you raised 2 chickens and you're going to get this, because you got to prove that you're in the egg business a little bit. Contact Britt, contact Steve, Dwight, any of those guys at Action Motorsports. You just stop in for a cup of coffee and sit down and talk with them a little bit. Fun to do that. And, if it's nice enough, maybe they'll let you take one out for a little spin. Daryl East, North Dakota Farm Bureau President. We have, we got to meet at Action Motorsports and tried to take one of those 3-wheel motorcycle car looking things out. I can't remember what they're called. They won't let me do it. They won't let me do it by myself because they know I'm going to have too much fun with it. There's a good chance they would have to put a new tire on the back wheel. That's for sure.
Well, it's possible, yeah.
I also want to thank Todd Mitchell at KFYR. The reason being, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, he was the one who said bacon isn't healthy. And I told you during the break that, I have weaned my second bunch of cows and calves here yesterday and ultrasounded them. And when my wife knows that we have people coming up to help do some ranch work, it's always customary, I guess you would say, to bring snacks and serve supper. We had supper last night, but she goes above and beyond and always has bacon for snacks. And thank you, Todd, for reminding me, because now I can eat bacon and in the morning here on the show, and also interview Daryl Lease, who I hear is going to be turning vegan for 2 weeks as part of a challenge for the Farm Bureau. Are we going to do that or not? I mean, I'm trying to give you guys ideas here.
Yeah, well, that would be an idea. We're doing a new peer-to-peer fundraising campaign for our foundation. We really want to expand our foundation and our educational opportunities and our informational opportunities and our messaging for advocating for agriculture. And so this peer-to-peer fundraising, people go, what's peer-to-peer fundraising? Well, the probably most notarized one out there, notable one is, Brave the Shave.
Mm-hmm.
That's a peer-to-peer. If I raise $1,000, I'll shave my head. So friends, family, community members donate money to them and Brave the Shave, and then that person will shave their head. Well, right now we've got staff and members across the state doing different challenges for $500 or $1,000, and and so we're trying to think of mine. And I said, well, mine's going to be something big. It's going to be something worth raising $5,000 to $10,000 over, and then you come up with this just wonderful idea to cut meat or that out of my diet for a month, and I'm going, oh man, I would die.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do it for 2 weeks, but boy, I got to really think on this one. But yeah, all my buddies out there would go, he can't do it, but I want to see him try. So
and then
that
invite
might be the one for
you to
consideration.
breakfast every morning, and the other people always order eggs and bacon and all that kind of stuff, and you can't eat any.
Yeah,
you'd have to.
And I gotta eat hash browns. Now I like hash browns, but
I do too.
It's usually mixed with bacon, ham, or eggs.
And cheese. And, well, let's go to the phone lines. Here's a guy on the phone line here that was up, and he helped haul cattle, and he actually rounded up while I was at another person's in the morning. He got everything sorted off by the time I got back to the ranch. Jesse, good morning. How are you?
I got 2 words for you guys. Pork sausage gravy. That's 3 words. Damn it.
I was going to say, what? Are you on the Common Core math over there, or what?
Oh, man. Well, I tell you what.
Hold on. It's called a slingshot, is what that motorcycle car
thing
that
is. Three-wheel car thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's on your mind today there, Mr. Flath?
Well, I got a few things. First of all, you guys are talking about the 440 rule and how that applies to hunters. But I feel like we've also got to talk a little bit about protecting private property and protecting your livelihood. Wondering, and I warned Daryl about this yesterday, that I was going to ask for an update. We had, what has it been, 6 months, Daryl, I suppose? We had a gentleman shoot a moose out of his corral that was damaging and trying to kill his livestock. Game and Fish apparently has decided to go after him and try to prosecute him for shooting wild big game out of season. Do you have any update for us on that?
Yeah, so I do, and
well, first off, Daryl, tell the story just for those that are listening that are like, what's going on here? Give the whole story and then lead into the answer, please.
So we're going on about a year now, where a gentleman had a moose enter his corral, and he had brought cattle home, and he had in his corral he had heifers, and he had some of his bulls in there, and he comes to find his son calls him up and says, hey, down here at the corral, there's a bull moose in here, and he's pawing and snorting. He was chasing stuff around. Now he's pawing and snorting at bull such and such. And this was a pretty nice, one of their better bulls. And they're looking like they're going to, have a showdown here. And so the dad, he went down there and he took the gun, like I think any natural rancher would. Right. And because if my cattle are threatened, I'm going to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And, they didn't know. I mean, you know what? People know what bulls cost: $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $10,000 to get a good quality bull to put in your herd and improve your genetics. And, you got the moose standing down with one of your better bulls. And you don't necessarily want to go get between these two animals that are now fired up against each other. So he removed the animal by shooting it and removed the threat. And his son had it on video. So there was video proof that, it was in harassing his livestock. Okay. He does this. They get it out of the corral, calls the game warden because he thought that was the right thing to do. Said, hey, this moose was in my corral. It was harassing my livestock, standing down with my prized beef bull, and he didn't say prize, but one of my herd bulls and whatever, and game warden come there and just treated him like dirt. Okay, just arrogant, and what did you shoot him for? You shooting him for horns or this. And he goes, I called you to come get him. I called you to tell you I did this Well, he even helped him load it into his pickup because evidently the little winch system they got or that for loading them kind of things when they're, investigating poaching cases and that didn't work. So he got the loader and helped the game warden load it in his pickup even. Doing what he thought was right. Okay. And notifying him, hey, I had to shoot and put this bull moose down, yada, yada, yada. Here's why. Here's what it was doing.
Here's video proof.
I want, full disclosure that we did this. And lo and behold, a few days later, he gets a notice that he's subject to a $2,000 fine and a penalty and going to have to go to court for shooting this moose out of season.
And what was that, forfeiture of his guns and all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that was, whatever they go for in that whole, deal. I don't know if the prospect of losing his license opportunity for a year or two was in there or whatever, gun. I'm sure when when you shoot something out of season, they like to take your guns, or at least the gun that was used in the act. So essentially here's what they were doing. They were going to come down on him with the same prosecution as someone that would poach one and hide it. Same prosecution for someone that would have intentionally went out looking to poach one and hide it and take one illegally. He would have been just as well off to shoot it, drag it to the cattails, and take a chance on getting caught because it was the same prosecution coming. Instead, he did what he thought was the right thing, notifying the organization, the agency that's responsible for the management of these animals, so they knew why this animal was dead. And he got.
So where are they at on that now?
The right thing.
Yeah, where are we?
So,
now what's the update?
So the court, he got a lawyer. The court was supposed to go, in June, and that got canceled with all the COVID stuff. And then there was supposed to be another court date in October. Well, he switched to a different lawyer because the initial lawyer said, you know what, this is beyond my understanding, but here's a lawyer, an attorney that's really good on these private property rights things. And he switched to a different lawyer. This is going to blow your mind, guys. Okay. It blew my mind when it was said to me. So this rancher had everything dropped, everything expunged from his record, no guilty plea, no innocent, finding, no nothing. It just went away because he made a $2,000 donation to shoot St. Jude's Hospital.
Are you kidding me?
That's extortion by a public entity.
Now, good on him that he didn't have to go spend another $10,000 on attorney fees. Okay, that he got out from under it. But get this, his attorney said, "I think I can get you out of this. Are you willing to give to a donation to a charity of the same amount as the fine?" Now there was court fees and stuff like that would have been added on, so he didn't have to worry about any of that. But just the fine basic. And the guy goes, "You mean this will go away? I'll have no record. It'll be no paper trail of me, nothing pending, no plea agreement, no, it's just going to go away." And he goes, "Well, as long as I get to pick the charity," because he said, "I am not giving it to the Game and Fish, And so, but before I go any further in this, let's back up one more time. And every time he would call the Game and Fish and go, "Can we work on this? Can we do this? The Game and Fish would go, "It's out of our hands. We turned it over to the state's attorney." Remember that statement. It's out of our hands. We have nothing to do with it. We turned it over to the state's attorney. Okay. Remember that statement for the next things I'm going to tell you here. So that attorney calls the state's attorney and says, "Hey, can we work something out like this? Because this is just kind of a, it's just a Mickey Mouse show here, And rather than have this guy spend $5,000-10,000 more on my fees, and you guys tie up court time with this kind of thing where the guy was protecting his private property, and it was the cheapest way to get the guy out of the situation. Mm-hmm. So good on the attorney and him. Okay, I'm not saying that, but bad on our system that something like this can exist even. So the attorney goes and calls the state's attorney, and you know what the state's attorney said? Well, I don't see
I got to talk to the Game and Fish.
I have to call the Game and Fish and see if they're okay with that. But wait a minute. The Game and Fish said we're out of it completely. It's in the state's attorney's hand. But so why did the state's attorney have to call the Game and Fish and get approval? Something is fishy. Something is not right. In a system, in a judicial system, that A, couldn't get this handled in a timely fashion for this gentleman, B, is going to, if there was supposedly such an egregious thing done against the people of the state because he shot a moose, why are we allowing people to buy their way out?
Yeah.
There's so many wrong things with this. And I told this gentleman yesterday when I visited with him, I said, you know what? Good for you. I'm glad that you're out from under this. I said, for doing what you thought was right. In the first place, that a gentleman like this should get prosecuted for doing what he thought was right. To get prosecuted for doing the right thing is a bunch of BS anyway. Okay? There's a difference between a poacher and a guy protecting his private property. And if we don't have enforcement that has brains enough to understand that difference, we've got a big issue in enforcement. Now, I might have just upset some folks at the Game and Fish with that statement, but deal with it, because if I upset you, you might be the problem.
We've known that for years, though, Daryl.
Yeah, if I didn't upset you, you don't have nothing to worry about, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I was blown away, gentlemen. I was truly blown away, and I was happy for this individual and his family. I truly am, that he got it resolved. It didn't cost him another $10,000. There's no doubt they don't want it. Well, and the state's attorney obviously knew that too, or they wouldn't have done this, you know. And the Game and Fish want to give him permission to accept that if they want to know that, yeah, they're on thin ice here too. But, you know, good on this attorney to know that, you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat for you, sir. And here's how we're going to do it.
When we get off air, I got another story. It's similar, but got another one of the same likings that I can tell you about too there, Daryl. But
well, it's absolutely insanity, folks. I mean, the people that are people in law enforcement should be hanging their head, or people in prosecutory positions should be hanging their head in shame, knowing that something like this is going on. Rest assured, we are going to approach this. We are going to work on this. There are already legislators that are saying we need to fix some of this stuff so people can protect their private property when things like this go on and don't have to worry about this insane prosecution and have to spend money to prove their innocence, especially if he was doing this to hide some moose meat in his freezer or for a rack of horns. What if he called the Game and Fish people?
and then you got a whole new fight there is what is protecting private property. You know, that's going to be a thing where it's like, well, that's going to be up to somebody else's opinion on what that means.
Well, speaking of insanity, boys.
Oh, Jesse, go ahead.
Speaking of insanity and private property and private business and the right to do business, how insane do you think it is that the state, particularly one individual in his cabinet, thinks that they can tell me that I have to wear a mask or I have to do this or I have to do that in my private business? You really think you're going to see this guy Monday morning in my own office at my desk with a mask on? Yeah, they're out of their darn minds.
You're going to get fined. That's what's going to happen to you.
Good luck. Show me where they have the authority to find me.
Hey, we're up against the clock a little
bunch of money. You want to talk about spending a bunch of money to get out of a little tiny fine? I'm in.
Well, and we'll cover that story next Saturday. And just promise me this one phone call that you get from jail, it's to my show.
Well, you darn right. Get your recorder ready.
All right, Jesse, I got to let
Thanks,
you
guys.
run there, buddy. You bet. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, it's going to be, we'll finish on a bright side here, Daryl. I tell you what, we always do this when I finish a show is what is Britt going to do at Action Motorsports today? So last weekend, the bosses were out deer hunting. I don't know if they're there again today or if they're gone, but usually we always make something up that Britt's going to do at Action Motorsports. And last week, we said that if you go in and buy a new Ranger, General, or Sportsman and you sign up for this Players Ag Advantage, or even if you didn't, he was going to take care of the sales tax and give you a free helmet. That's what Jesse said that he was going to do. This week, I don't know what, I think if you go in there, he'll take you out to breakfast. He'll give you a coupon for breakfast. Or if you want his company, he'll take you out to breakfast too. It's Action Motorsports Players Ag Advantage. Daryl, I appreciate you coming on the program here. We got 45 seconds. If people want to get in touch with you, talk to you a little bit. I know the Game and Fish knows how to get in touch with you. How does the rest of us do that?
You know what? You can inquire through NDFB, one of our offices, and they'll pass on a message for me to get back to you. You can go to our Facebook page and say, hey, could you have Daryl get a hold of me? Or you know what? Here's my cell phone number. I've never hidden from any discussion. 701-337-6698. Once again, for those of you who weren't, getting your phone out quick enough for your pen, 701-337-6698. Give me a call. We can discuss what's going on. We'd love to hear what's going on out there so we have more information so that we can provide that information to everyone in North Dakota.
All right, Daryl, thank you for coming on here. We'll continue this on the YouTube side. Thanks for tuning in today. All right, thank you, radio stations. YouTube still live here, Daryl. If people finish out what you were saying there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just we need to get information out, like this 440 rule. We need to have folks aware of this, and on both sides, landowners and hunters side. Like I said, landowners, take care of your neighbors, take care of the people that live out there. If you're a remote owner of land, and hunters, don't use this as a license to encroach that close to someone's residence.
Yeah.
It's relationships, and if you want to destroy even further the relationships between landowners and certain hunters, just start doing this.
Don't start doing that. That's what I want to make sure.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they want to destroy things, then they go ahead with it because it will destroy it even further.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. People have common sense out there and continue doing the right thing. And so we're going to leave YouTube. YouTube, thank you. I got to tell Daryl a story here very quickly. Thanks for tuning in to the Tube side.